Next speaker is Raveendran. Stop, think again. Stop, think again, Raveendran.
Do you know of anyone who does a toast for the dog? My mother did. And as if that was not enough, she would lovingly apply marmalade onto the toast and give it to our pet dog, Chico. And Chico will not stop to think. He will launch gleefully for the toast. And Ma will say, "Sololi, Chico, sololi, sololi." Ma was unable to pronounce the word slowly, but yet she had her own unique way of spreading love. Soon Chico was taking things for granted. And me too began to fall into that rut. You see, if I was to be late out of my room for breakfast, I kid you not, but Ma will bring the tea and toast right into my room for me. I too got spoiled rotten and I began to take things for granted. Mom was the epitome of love. And after giving me my breakfast, she will have a list of errands for me to do for the day. But I will invariably neglect to do them. This continued and became a habit in me. Until one fine day, there was one errand that I failed to do that really caught me in the tenterhooks. And there's an interesting story with a lesson that I must share it with you. You see, Ma was an investor. She used to invest in the weekend lotteries. In Malaysia, we have Sports Toto, Magnum, and whatever, all 4-digit numbers. Ma will write up a long list of numbers, give it to me together with the cash to go and place the bets. But I would neglect to do that, though occasionally I did buy. Well, the numbers did not come out, so I was lucky. But worse, to add salt to the wound, I will pocket the money and pretend that I had bought the numbers. This continued for a few months until almost to a year. One fine day, Ma came into my room clearly excited, said, "Dave, we struck first prize." And you know what happened? I had not bought the numbers. Now what do I tell Ma? I immediately told Ma, "I did not buy the numbers, Ma." Ma said, "What?" And I said, "No, Ma, the numbers are in the car." I quickly scampered out of the house into the car. I tried to drive as far away as possible. I was like a rat caught in a trap. Call it Ma's gravitational pull. I kept going around in circles around the neighborhood. I had clearly been cheating Ma. The chickens had finally come home to roost. I was frantic, I was desperate, I was frenzied. It is only at the traffic lights when the lights turned green and I did not realize that I was in a daze. The lorry behind me gave me a loud toot on the air horn that made me realize where I was. And I felt, Jesus, I must make good the situation. I went to the bank. I withdrew 13,000 ringgit Malaysian, the equivalent of the winnings. Whatever little I had in my account on that day, came back home and gave it to Ma. You should see Ma's face. It lit up like the lights at the football stadium being prepared for the night's football match. Ma was grinning from year to year. I had never seen Ma so happy for so long. Ma slipped away 2 years ago. I was at the crematorium when they wheeled her up to the incinerator. I had one close look at Ma. I could not resist images flashing by that I had been cheating Ma. I felt ashamed and guilty. Yes, I made good, but still the intention was bad. So what's the takeaway here? I had begun to take things for granted. This is what happens when things are going extremely well in our lives. We do not stop to think again. We just carry on until one fine day we get caught in a situation like this. I would suggest best not to take things for granted. I know this is not rocket science, this is not quantum physics, this is simple as ABC. But look, even at a gigantic colossal scale, the Titanic sank because the crew took for granted that's unsinkable. You know the rest of the history. And the world is littered with such stories where people have taken things for granted. Attack on Pearl Harbor being one, reciprocal attack on a Tokyo raid being another, and the list goes on and on and on. And the irony is, I had to have a hard lesson to teach me a simple thing. So, what do? I have learned my lesson well. No more tomfoolery by me since. And to add salt to the wound, Ma did not want the winnings because she wanted to buy some ichi-kuchi bag. She wanted to be able to give to her grandchildren when they come visiting. So if I may suggest to you, should you ever come to a situation where you're going to take things for granted, think carefully. It can affect relationships. It can affect your health. It can affect safety. My suggestion to you is stop, think again. Back to you, Toastmaster of the morning.